Hey friends, welcome back to Homeschoolology. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Nikki. I'm a homeschooling mom of 4. In the upcoming school year, we will have an 8th grader, 4th grader, kindergartner, and preschooler, and it will be our 9th year of homeschooling. On this channel, I like to talk to you guys mostly about secular homeschooling, having a larger family, traveling with a larger family, and everything in between. And today's video is a long overdue video because I've already filmed this video and then proceeded to lose it somewhere along the way. And so this is a video that I promised that showed you guys how I plan out like my mini history unit studies using the History Smashers books. So this is a long overdue video, but I am going to share you with it and remake the video so that you guys can see. We have finished out our year. This is what we used the History Smashers series to build mini units for last year's history lessons. And we loved it and it worked great. And the only reason I'm not continuing is because there's not a lot of books left that we haven't already read. And I found the big history project and I really want her to, I really want to go through a history timeline this year. And I think she's still going to enjoy that. But these are books, the History Smasher books we read this one back when it was women, we did like a little like Women's History Month celebration, and I got this book to kind of read during that while we were doing some other activities on that. And we fell in love with this book series. I just love it so much. It's well written. It has things that you don't necessarily hear about normally in, like the real history about the things that really happened. And so we loved these books. My daughter loved it so much that she was like, can we please do all of them? And I was like, yes. And so that's what we were doing. So what I'm going to do today, I have shared videos in the past. I'll link a playlist here and or in the comments. But this one, I didn't actually create a mini unit study. And so since I have this book, and since we're not going to continue right now, we're going to put the other, I think we have 2 books left, and we're going to 3 books left. One is plagues and pandemics or something, so it doesn't really necessarily fit in anywhere. But the other one is the Underground Railroad in Pearl Harbor. We didn't get to those things. And so I'm just going to save those for when we cover them in like our regular history plan. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one and show you what I would have done if I had created a whole unit study on it. And so that is what we're going to do today. So step 1, I would go find this book on Amazon and look at the other recommendations. So I'm going to set up my computer as like a dual screen so we can see, so you can see that process. So the very first thing I would do is go find this book on History Smashers, Women's Right to Vote. So I would find this book on Amazon, and then I would scroll down here. And a lot of times it's going to say, like frequently bought together, it's going to have just other History Smasher titles. But sometimes you'll get lucky and there'll be a book here as well that relates to the topic. But if you scroll down a little bit further, it's related products that Amazon thinks might be useful to you if you like this book as well. And so I will go through here and see if there's anything that I think would be a good book just by like looking, and then I will do a little research on that book. So Boundary Breakers might have one that would have, something about the, suffrage. And so I might check that book out. I think that's kind of it that I'm seeing here. That would be one that would kind of go along with that theme. So then the next step I would do, if I don't see anything there that I like, I would type in women's suffrage, if I can spell it right, books for kids. So I like to always start out with for kids to kind of see what comes up. That would be more on like a lower, because I'm not necessarily looking to expand her reading ability on these books. I want her to understand them. So I typically always look for kids first. So this one looks like something that might be worth checking out because it's Women and the Right to Vote, a true book. So it would be based on, true events. Then this one might be one that I would look into, The Split History of Women's Suffrage Movement. This is a Perspectives flip book. This one looks really good, guys. So we're going to open this in a new tab, and I'm going to scroll down and check out. I skip everything else, and I can just go straight to the reviews, because that's what I'm interested in. I want to see what people thought of the book first. And so there's not a lot of reviews on this book, unfortunately. I think there was only the one. So this person thought that it wasn't like the most interesting of books. So, you know, that is what it is. Sometimes kids just aren't interested in the content necessarily. But I would read here. So I don't know. This one, the title seemed good, and now that I'm looking at it, I'm like, there's not a ton of detail here. So maybe this isn't the best option, but this one is something that I would probably look into. So I would try to find 1 or 2 books that I thought would be look good. So I'm going to kind of just do that process here real quick and stop talking so much so that I can kind of speed through this a little bit. Okay, so this is a book that I would almost definitely pick up. It's the What is the Women's Rights Movement, because I absolutely love the Who, What, Was series. I think they're great books. My daughter enjoys reading them. They're good content. Something that we do like to do is kind of compare the History of Smashers book to the What Was book, because sometimes this book will say, you know, this is something that is popularly believed but didn't happen that way. And then this book over the Who Was, What Was is saying, you know, what this book said is a popular belief that might not be 100% true. And so we kind of like, you know, like that, like trying to find the correct, you know, like what's actually right kind of situation. So that was like really fun to do. And we always use these Who, What Was when we're doing the History Smashers, because we love them and I think they're great content. Oops, that was an accident. Then I usually maybe might try to pick like a person. So we would maybe do Susan B. Anthony, but might not have been the person that I would pick. I might pick somebody else, but I try to find maybe like a Who, What Was, or some kind of book about maybe like a person that she can relate to. Then I'm also going to look and see, I don't know if they have one, but we discovered the Dear America. Okay, so during this, you know, one of these processes before, I found the Dear America series and we fell in love with it. And there's almost always a book that correlates to the History Smashers. So this one would be A Time for Courage, A Suffragette Diary of Kathleen Bowen, and it's usually like a younger girl who lived through that time, and it would be like her journal from that time. It's usually based on an actual person that they might have some diary entries for, but it is written, you know, and like put together by somebody else. And so there is an author for each book, because it is, you know, semi-fictional, you know, or fictionalized history, I guess is the right way to say that. And so I would absolutely definitely pick up this book, because I know my daughter loves them. We love reading them. And so that one would be one that I would pick up too. After I looked on Amazon and looked around and looked at those ones that I know we love, I would go and do a Google search. Women's suffrage unit study. Okay, so obviously Teacher Pay Teachers is going to have stuff, but I'm going to wait to look at that. First, I'm going to go and look at some of these other links. PBS is always a great place to look, because they actually have like actual lesson plans. But this one is going to have like, you know, all the media galleries to look at and videos to watch and things like that. Here is a Natural Women's History Museum, The Path to Suffrage, so I will check that one out. This is probably going to be lots of really good information, and probably even have some lesson plans. Yep, this one is a lesson plan. So I would like read through this and see if there were any activities in here that I would want to do. I am going to check out Teachers Pay Teachers and see if there's anything there that I would want to use. It looks like the National Parks has a unit study. This one has discussion questions. So that's, so basically I'm going to go and look at what resources are already out there. Like, because why reinvent the wheel if there's something already out there that is available to you and free? So I'll line up the table. I'll look at the table of contents in my book and try to kind of line up where I think maybe activities will fit well. I think a good structure is like reading a chapter in the History Smashers, reading a little bit in the diary, maybe reading a chapter that goes along with the chapter in here from the Who, What, Was, and that's our starting point. And then from there, like that's what we do every day, kind of repeat that process. And then from there, add in activities as I see fit. Sometimes like we might have to read like 2 or 3 chapters in another book to kind of catch up in this book. But this is my spine. This is the table of contents that I kind of go off of, and then I fit everything into that spine. And then the activities I'll either find on Google or Teacher Paid Teachers. I try to not do I don't want to do an activity every single day. So I try to do like where like we're going to do the majority of just reading for a day, 2 or 3 days, and then we'll throw in an activity. I don't like to have like a super structured, laid out structure. I like to say I'm going to read a couple of chapters in each of the books and then do an activity. But you could absolutely 100% write it all out, put it in a Google Classroom, do whatever you want to do that works for you. But that's kind of like my process that I go through to find what I want to do. I start with a spine book. You don't have to just do the History Smashers book. You start with a spine book. Find materials to kind of add into that. Then once you find all your materials that you're going to use, then you go in and find activities that you could do. And so a lot of times doing a simple Google search, you're going to find some things. If I'm having a hard time finding books, I will do a Google search for books about this or unit studies, because a lot of times you'll get like, just regular blogs will do, this is what we used to learn about whatever. And then you can just look at those resources and find something that way. So that is all the kind of like the process that I go through to write one of these units. I don't even write it down, guys. I mean, it's basically, I'm just like, these are the resources we're going to use. These are the activities we're going to use, and we just kind of do them. But you could absolutely write that all down. So I hope you found this helpful. I hope that was like, kind of more of an in-depth look to my process rather than these, my other videos or these are the materials I'm using. So hopefully this was helpful to you. If you have any other questions, I'd be happy to answer them down in the comments. While you're down there, I'd love it if you would subscribe to this channel. But I'm here to help. So if you guys would like to see more, just let me know. I'm happy to share. But I think that's it for today's video. So I hope you will come along and share with me again soon, and I will talk to you guys later. Don't forget to follow us over on Instagram at Homeschoolology. All right, now for real. Talk to you guys later. Bye.